Namaskar. Welcome to Three Good Generals, and we are back to full capacity today. Let's welcome the good generals, General Shankar, General Dushyant Singh, and General Rajiv Narayanan. Namaskaram, sir. How are you?
Namaskaram and thank you.
Namaskar.
Long time since all of us have got together.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
And,
indeed. Warm welcome
and
to all of you.
no, we are getting together when the Strait of Hormuz is closed.
Yes.
That's why we couldn't go there, so we came here.
And we are here.
Yeah.
And this is the first program on P Gurus with my laptop.
Oh,
Good
wow.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome back, laptop. Thank you, sir. That human interest story garnered a lot of eyeballs, I must say, and glad you shared it on our platform. So this is very important. There's a human element to everything, and that's a very nice gesture. Sir, you're going to open the batting today, General Dushyant, and over to you, sir. You have a slide deck also. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayerji, and it's an honor to open the proceedings. So let me state right in the beginning that enough has been said about Iran war. Updates are coming on national TV, so I'm not going to waste time on that, and I'm going to do a scenario gazing. In military parlance, in security, there are discussions based on scenarios. So I have got 4 scenarios today to discuss, and each scenario we will touch upon the highlights. So, can I have the slide deck, please, without wasting any time? So, basically, the theme is oil shock in the Middle East. What are the likely scenarios which may occur? Now, some of them may look very obvious, but the possibility of these likely to happen is very much there. So, coming on first to my first scenario, which is war lasts till end of March. Uh, I have not specifically mentioned the outcome. In the other scenarios, you will get the outcome. So, if I assume that the war lasts till end of March and we continue with the same kind of dispensation, that means the US withdraws, Iran remains in some form under the IRGC or under the Iranian control, and the rest of the Gulf starts, you know, getting stable since the Strait of Hormuz or whatever it is, whichever way the areas were being blocked or being interfered with, those have stopped. So what is likely to happen is that the oil prices may touch about 140 to 150 barrels till the end of March. 15% global supply will be disrupted, including India, and India and China will be the most affected as far as the oil shock is concerned. Producers will lose about 1.1 billion per day in revenue till the end of March. Consumers like India, Japan, China will face severe inflation, GDP losses of up to 3% in this particular period. But since the war would be ending, we people would be countries would be recovering from this particular shock. Let's go to the second scenario, which is US regime change with moderates. What happens is US is able to succeed with the IRGC not being there, but some other softer dispensation, maybe under Pezexia. I am seeing a lot of possibility of Pezexia probably emerging as some kind of an acceptable candidate for both sides, because he represents a fairly liberal face. There were also some news items where it was saying that Pezexia is probably considering resigning from his post of president. So I see a possibility of a Western and Iranian agreement on something like that happening. If that happens, then regime change within the system, as per the existing design, prices are likely to stabilize to about 90 to 100 barrels. But OPEC cohesion will also start getting created under the oversight of the US. US will have definitely a greater control over the oil. Producers will regain a partial stability but lose the autonomy under the US. Consumers will benefit, of course, but remain wary of the volatility, because the Iranian regime would not have changed in totality. It would be a similar kind of a dispensation, maybe subdued by the war outcomes, as also by the liberal phase of the government which might come up, or the dispensation which might come up. I am basically seeing this as a reduction of the Supreme Council's influence in Iran. If you go to the next scenario, which is liberal post-West government, the IRGC falls, the Supreme Council falls, there is a total decimation. This is the best case scenario if you want to, if you're looking at it from an Indian perspective, from an oil perspective. I'm not talking of Chabahar. Maybe Chabahar also we might be able to actually make the best of it because of our current dispensation of being neutral. So we might be actually navigating a positive outcome in this particular scenario. It is win-win for India in this case. Prices would stabilize around 70 to 80 per barrel. Producers lose bargaining power. Rents redirected into reforms. Why producers lose bargaining power? Because the oil flows will start coming back to natural routes and natural sea lanes of communication. Western firms will gain access to energy sector, and consumers India, US enjoy stable supply. So this is the best case scenario. But what I feel maybe the most likely scenario is the one which I discuss in the next one. And that is this scenario where the US runs away in between, as it happens more often. Afghanistan, Syria, you take a number of examples where US has just left the scene, leaving the entire scenario to be managed by the local actors. So there will be three poles created in this kind of a scenario. You will have Iranian pole, you will have the Israeli pole, and you have the balance of the Gulf states aligning in one direction. What is going to happen in this case? I think the Iranians will get much more aggressive. Proxy militias, missile threats, oil leverage. Iran will get a prominent influence in the region. Strait of Hormuz, there are already talks going on that they have started actually. They're planning to levy taxes on the tankers which are going to go through Iranian Strait of Hormuz. The act has to be passed in the Parliament of Iran, which is a mere formality. I don't think there'll be any problem in that. So Iran will gain prominence. As far as Israel is concerned, continue to face its opponents in Hezbollah or Iran. There would be and Hamas also. There would be continuous, I think, kinetic and non-kinetic actions being taken by Israel to subdue its enemies. So therefore, there will be a chaotic situation. There'll be oil instability will continue. Prices of the barrel, etc., the oil per barrel, sorry, dollar per barrel will, I think, shoot to about 150, 160. Not a good position for India, but this to me looks like the most likely situation. All of you can comment upon it. It's my hunch or my gut feeling, but there could be other views also on this. So what I'm seeing is a regional conflict implication. How will all these scenarios make a difference to India, Pakistan, China, that axis? So as far as India, Pakistan is concerned, I think the economic stress will worsen and Kashmir tensions might be created by Pakistan. It is always, using a diversionary tactics of, if it finds it very difficult to cope up on the West, possibly an anti-India fervor in Pakistan goes in favor of a military dictator. This would be also probably gaining prominence in a scenario 2 situation also. As far as India, China, both will suffer shocks in scenario 1. Rivalry will deepen under US dominance in the scenario 2, and China's influence will erode in scenario 3. Scenario 4, India, China, Pakistan, their relationship will remain chaotic, will remain unstable, with very hard or very difficult to predict what will be the trajectory. Western versus Eastern alliances. I think in the scenario 1, the NATO Quad will tighten coordination. US consolidates control but faces Gulf balancing in scenario 2, because Gulf will also have to be satisfied here. Western dominance will reshape as far as scenario 3 is concerned, but in scenario 4, there will be chaos, disorder, and we will see more of what we are seeing currently. Worsening India Pak China equation may lead to diversionary action by Pakistan against India in scenario 4, as like it would happen in scenario 1. So in my view, it will be very difficult for us to actually uh, go through the scenario 4 and the scenario 1 situation. So what are the risks and trade-off? Short term supply shocks will happen in either of the scenarios. So India has to be prepared for that. Unfortunately, we have 22 ships still, 20 out of the 22 ships still stuck in Strait of Hormuz. They have to be negotiated to get across. If you have to give some money and get it across, I think it may be worth it. Medium term regime change risks are very high. Certain parts of India getting instabilized, being made unstable is also possible, given the fact that you have seen Ukrainian getting arrested and the US uh, chap getting arrested in the country at 3 different airports. I believe 8 more are floating around in the country. So therefore, that is something which might be a element of risk as far as our Northeast is concerned. In the long term, I think liberalization will reduce the oil's geopolitical weight, but create competition for investments. So what will happen is, if we stabilize in the long term with whichever regime comes to power, there will be more competition between the investors, but the Gulf states will lose their negotiating value or lose their control on oil prices, because now you have a number of players who are actually supplying oil. Maybe the quality of oil is different, but if the Iranian oil gets into the pipeline and gets into the free flow, I think it will be very difficult situation for Gulf. All the talk going on that the UAE possibly feels that this war was created by Saudi Arabia to ensure that the Saudi Arabian oil gets a preference. I don't know how far that is true. There was a UAE, some billionaire or somebody who gave this particular statement. But all that, I think, is people are talking out of their gut feelings. Overall, I see short-term high risks, medium-term instability within country, between countries, and in the long term, possibly stability. But as far as oil is concerned, stability, but the Gulf losing a lot of leverage as far as control of oil prices is concerned. So I'll stop here, and we'll wait for the other comments and see how things.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant. General Rajiv Narayanan, General Shankar and I have been talking almost every day, once, sometimes even twice a day. And we kind of finish. Right now, we are so aligned with the thoughts that we are finishing each other's sentences. I'd like to have a different perspective from you, sir. Over to you.
I don't think this war is finishing in a hurry. There is a wild guess which I have made that Trump wants Iran to do something in mainland USA. So you have the FBI making statements that there is a high risk of drone attacks from the Pacific on the West Coast. Rational. Why? The moment something like this starts happening, maybe 2-3 events, more than adequate for Donald Trump to declare emergency. And once emergency is there, there is no elections. So keep that at the back of your mind, that if there is no election, then there is no midterm. So that could be one part. As far as the oil part is concerned, I don't think India needs to worry much about. We have already heard 7 tankers which were going to China have been turned around from Singapore for us. That is the 9.3 million barrels. We have already done a deal with them for he has 43 million in his reserves, 30.6 million barrels is giving you. You're in talks for about 8 or 9 million barrels per day coming from Russia. All this is Russian oil. Now take Venezuelan oil. They had 4 million barrels in stock. Only Reliance and ONGC today has the capacity to refine Venezuelan oil. The American companies have given up their hands. They have said they can't do it. So those 4 million barrels will be coming sometime next week. Thereafter, the maximum capacity is around 1 million barrels a day. It comes to you. Now your monthly daily requirement is about 5 million barrels a day. Your refining capacity is about 5.2. What you have been doing over the last 6 months is 10.8 million barrels a day. All the oil companies have been told to increase the refining capacity. With that, and having released 74 days stocks into the public out of the 120 days strategic reserve that you had, so you find amongst the major countries, India is the only country which has not increased the cost of oil to the people. Everybody else in the world has increased. Who matters has increased, some going as much as 30% to about 5 to 6%. Everybody has increased. So oil, I'm not worried about. Gas, yes. LPG, yes. You are in talks. Russia has agreed. Australia has agreed. Algeria has agreed. Norway has agreed. Canada has agreed. US has agreed. Agreement is one thing. Once it starts flowing, then I can say yes, you don't have to worry about. LNG is not a problem. LPG is a problem. So that is where you heard the Prime Minister telling the other day that he would want more and more people to shift to piped gas. Piped gas is LNG. So I don't think the Americans, Trump is keen on anything happening in the Gulf. He is looking at his own interest. It's not MAGA first. It is make Trump family great first. It is Trump family first. He is looking at himself, and he knows that if midterm elections take place, he's cooked his chips. While one of the bills to trim his capacity to conduct the war has been defeated on the floor of the House, I believe there are 7, 8 more bills lined up. And he also knows that if the Democrats take full control of the House, the Congress, that is the House of Rep and the Senate, they will not hesitate to impeach him. And they have got 2, 3, 4 charges on which to impeach him. So he is fighting for himself. He is not fighting for anything else. The other part, I would tend to agree to some extent that UAE is angry with Saudi Arabia because they have this east-west pipeline which comes from the Persian Gulf into the Red Sea. And they are offering countries now oil from Jeddah, but they don't have that kind of capacity what they have on the Persian Gulf to provide, because it's only one pipeline which comes there. The worst hit, China, yes. The other is EU. Because even if US, India and Russia start giving oil to EU, it does not total up to their daily requirement. You cannot replace the Persian Gulf oil. So the global economy for all the other countries is going to take a hit. My view is, how is our economy going to take a hit? If the EU economy is going to take a hit, the purchasing power goes down. So how do you sell? Yes, the companies will say that India's purchasing power is there 60-70%, but the balance you need to export your FTA to EU and Europe, their purchasing power goes down. How do you sell to them? Purchasing power of Africa will go down, purchasing power of Southeast Asia will go down, Far East will go down. So that is how it is going to impact our economy. I feel that your markets will not have whatever you had planned, that they would have so much of money available to buy your products, may not be available. Now, as far as the economy of US is concerned, it's depends on how much money he is going to spend. He's spending billions of dollars in this war. How much money does he make on his oil? Like EU has got a catch-22 situation. If he takes oil from Russia, that means you're throwing Zelensky under the bus. If you're taking oil from USA, fine, it will be costlier, but US, them, how much? US gives about 6 million barrels per day. How much will you get? EU requires 13 to 14 million barrels per day. That's their consumption, daily consumption. Even if you take Russia 4, even if you take ours 3 to 4, how do you cover up? You can't. So EU is in a bind, big bind today. Europe is in a big bind today. And that is how our economy is going to be affected. Rest of the others, three countries whose economy is going to stabilize because of the oil that you're getting is Russia, India, and US in that order. But that is not enough for us. You need your markets, which is where you're going to take a hit, because the global market is going to take a hit. The power of consumption of the world is going to take a hit longer this war goes. There was a report that Iran has reduced the price of its oil for its people to consume. It's obvious he has to reduce it because you have only X capability to store the oil. So if you're not giving it to your people, how do you store the oil? If the storage facility goes up, you got to cap it. Once you cap an oil well, it takes almost 6 to 8 months to start functioning again. That is why you find Saudi Arabia has reduced its output by 20%. One by one, they will start. Qatar cannot export that oil till they don't repair the terminal, the main terminal which has got hit. They can't export their gas. So he has to cap his gas fields. So even if the war finishes, say 2, 3, 4 months down the line, getting all this oil and gas back on the road is going to take time. It's not going to be easy. And so I tend to agree that in the short term, there is going to be an economic shock. The shock for us is you will not be able to sell as much as you were thinking in the FTAs you're going to sell. Australia is very badly hit. When you see the reports coming from Australia, they're very badly hit. They have a big problem. And I think the rates have been increased by the RBA, and the mortgage rents and everything have gone up. So that way the impact will be everywhere. And once the impact is everywhere, while your internal economy, you may say that it doesn't impact our internal economy much, but our business houses are going to face a problem of sales. So I'll stop this.
Thank you so much, sir. First off, General Dushyant, the tax that Iran wants to collect, I'm presuming that's going to be in yuan?
We don't know the currency as yet, but most likely you are right. It may be in yuan.
And thank you, sir. And General Rajiv, General Shankar, before I yield the floor to you, so one question for General Rajiv. So you said that LNG is not going to be a problem. India has been getting 45% of its LNG from Qatar. Where do you think is going to make up that offset?
I said initially, yes, you will face a problem initially, but the issue which I said was what the gas you're going to get from, say, Russia, Algeria, Australia, Norway, Canada, these are LNG.
Oh, okay.
Bulk of it is LNG. So LNG is not going to, LPG is going to continue to be an issue. That's why you find a whole lot of people saying alternate to LPG, how to have the alternate to LPG and other things. And the Prime Minister pushing that go for piped gas.
Most of the oil companies have actually stopped gas distribution also. Gujarat, IOC, everybody. So there is a problem.
LPG will remain a bit of an issue, though you will get your LPG, because as you keep getting more and more oil, like you're looking at your doubling your capacity, refining capacity. When that happens, in the cooling tower, the first thing which comes out is the LPG. The topmost is the LPG. And then, of course, you get your naphtha, gasoline and other things, but the topmost is the LPG. So that is also being given in, but mostly what you get from all these other countries are LNG.
Thank you so much, sir. Viewers, this show is coming to you live from Strategic Frontlines, from Gunnershot, as well as from P Gurus. Wherever you are watching, a request to please like this video, and if you're not subscribed to the respective channel, to also subscribe to these channels. Let's now welcome General Shankar. Sir, your thoughts. Well, few things have happened. I have not kept up in the last few hours, and maybe you can apprise of that and also the changing picture.
Yeah, let's this whole war has come down to the war. Tel ka kel hai ye pura. I
Tel
put
ka
it as
tel.
tel ka kel, right? So right now, and in this tel ka kel, Strait of Hormuz is center of gravity. I'll get back to the center of gravity a little later. We are worried about the Indian economy and all that. Again, economies are relative. We will get hit, there's no doubt. But everyone is going to get even worse. So to that extent, you'll remain still the fastest growing economy. So I am not that worried about our economy. We're going to go through stress. A thing like this, where 30% of the global oil is being taken off stage, everyone's going to have a problem. One. Let's talk of oil. The crux is what General Rajiv Narayanan said. The complete, the thing is not availability of oil as much as ability to refine. The only ability to refine outside the Gulf, the big ability to refine outside the Gulf is India, China, and USA, and a few others. China is not getting its thing because Venezuela, wo are all cut off. Gulf oil is also cut off. So it comes down to India. India's refining capacity is so high now that you will always have oil. So if you're going to refine oil for the world, first thing is you will take care of oil for yourself. So please understand, we're not going to have shortage of oil. And that is why the government has not even, the needle on the petrol pump price has not moved by even 1 naya paisa for the past 10 days. It will not move. LPG, LNG, there's a problem, and I suppose we'll have to go through the problem. Like others, will be in a bad shape. So we will have to come through some cut, CAO and all that. To that extent, our economy will go down a bit. Yeah, exports also will go down. There's no doubt. But where we will gain. After all, it's nice to say what Rajiv said. This war won't end for the next 6 months. Fine, it might not end. Any of the scenarios can play out. What General Dushyant said, okay. We don't know what's going to happen. Something will happen. But the fact is, India will be central to all this. Already, people are saying, 3-4 people have said, including the Finnish president, and the Russians also started talking. Some chap from the Gulf will also start talking. And they'll say, look, India, please come and mediate. To finish this war, only India can mediate today. Not Russia, because it's an interested party. Not China, which is already exited from the scene. No one is talking of China today. America is a interested party in this. Who else? Who can speak to everyone? It is only in India which has given the USA, Israel, and Iran a platform to speak during the Raisina dialogues in the India Today conclave. So, and we are talking to everyone. Everyone is saying, how is India getting its ships out? So, things will happen for India positively. If you are in the center of everything, this is a great opportunity for us to do many things. And I'm sure our government will do. I have faith in it because so far they've navigated us here. So, that extent, I have no problem. Now, General Rajiv Narayanan did speak of the East-West TAO, all that, and I just want to show that. Yeah, I'll just share the screen. Yeah, can I have this map up, please? Yeah, see, you look at this map. These are the two existing pipelines here, right? One is the East-West pipeline of Saudi Arabia. The East-West pipeline of Saudi Arabia has the capability of carrying about 50% of Saudi Arabian production. Okay, it starts from, I think, Kurais oil field, goes to Yanbu. Yanbu is where they this thing. Now that has so far not been loaded for more than 30%. So there's a lot of capacity. So Saudi Arabia is going to push oil from there, and that is why you see Iran trying to hit Saudi Arabia and that pipeline. Now that's where this battle is going. Why is Saudi being hit? Because of this. Saudi has an escape route, whereas Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar and all don't have an escape route. Again, why is Dubai being hit? Why is UAE being hit? UAE has got an escape route through that. Yeah, sorry, this is gone. I'll put that back again. Huh?
Goes to the Dibba port.
They have UAE has a escape route.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Can I have
at
that
that,
map back,
Chiba
please?
port
Yeah.
is in the
So
Gulf of
this
Oman.
little map here, this is from
Yeah,
Hapshan,
but
a place called
correct.
Hapshan, where there's an oil refinery of UAE to Fujairah, and that's why Fujairah got the special treatment.
But they got
So
attacked.
there are escape walls, right? So these escape walls will be put into place. Yeah, take the map off, please. So these escape walls will be put into place, and people are already on the job. And there will be some amount of protection being given. And there's a limit to what Iran can do. And if you
That's
see
true.
what Iran has been doing for the past, say, 4, 5 days, 10 days, it's not as if they are able to do everything. We've been doing this every day. Yesterday they did the 58th wave. Today there's the 61st wave. In one wave, how many rockets are they firing? 15, 20 rockets. In 15, 20 rockets, max 3, 4 targets. See, what Iran is doing is getting a lot of publicity because all of us are seeing it from 10 different places. What USA is doing to Iran, no one is seeing except what the CENTCOM commander tells us. So we're getting some kind of a stilted kind of a idea that Iran is doing everything and Iran has got a military initiative. It doesn't have. I mean, I want to clarify that part. Iran is still gone militarily weak. So to that extent, this is on the cards. So things will improve. Yeah, this month will be bad. Maybe next month it'll take time. It's not going to happen in a hurry. In fact, the rest of 26, it's not going to be in a good position. We're not going to have in a good position. But look at it from an Indian point of view. Whenever this whole story cools down, you have a whole lot of opportunity for reconstruction. You see, after what has happened, who will the Gulf countries depend on? Will they depend on China? They'll come back to India because it is India who constructed this entire area. They'll say, please come back. So let's not to get worried about what's going to happen to our economy. So I want to concentrate on the Gulf of Hormuz. The crux is Gulf of Hormuz today. If Iran is allowed to pay or collect tax on the Gulf of Hormuz for posterity, they can do it at this point of time in yuan, ye, wo, jo bhi hai, forever. Then USA and the Gulf have lost this game. That means the control on the oil is gone. If Iran, which is weakened, it doesn't have a leadership worth its name now left. They're all working in segmented. Someone is calling mosaic warfare, someone is saying cell warfare, someone is whatever nonsense it is. They are fighting a disintegrated or disjointed battle. At some place they're hitting this, that. But fundamentally, their battle is not. There's a problem between their political thinking and their military execution. Right? If in this state the world says, okay, Iran can take over the Gulf of Hormuz, then I'm sorry, we are whether everything is we're going in the wrong direction. Is it feasible? Today, the foreign ministers of the Gulf countries have met. They've all met. Now they will say, look, there's no reason why Iran should have hit UAE. There's no reason why Iran should have hit Riyadh the way it is hitting Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or for that matter, Qatar. All these were friends of Iran. Complete money of Iran was being laundered through Dubai. Dubai was playing multi games. Qatar and Iran were good friends because they share the same gas field. South Pars and North Field are one the same. Tank underneath is the same. Okay, it's only the siphoning point is different. So there is no love lost. In fact, I would say Iran has played a foolish game. Politically, they've created enmity in the Gulf. Every guy who's got money or who's got a value is against him now tomorrow and from ever. So the foreign ministers of the Gulf countries have got together, and this Gulf countries and Israel will get together now. We have forgotten this chap called Israel who is making a lot of mischief for everyone, good, bad, or ugly. Okay, he is moving. Netanyahu has been a skillful player to move America and maneuver America into the position he wants. And America has been the gun from which he is firing. We know that. So now American interests, Israeli interests, and the Gulf interests are aligned against Iran. So will this be taken to its logical conclusion or not? If you initially USA was concentrating on air defenses of Iran. They finished it off. Then they went into missiles, missile storage, defense industry base, drone, They finished it off. Of course, Iran still retains a capability to, fire a few missiles every day and a few drones every day. There's no doubt about it. Now, if you see the latest briefings coming there, they are now concentrating on the coast. They are very clear. Why is that? That Marine Expeditionary Force moving USS Tripoli. Yesterday it crossed Singapore. Today it should be somewhere rounding, Colombo, somewhere there, Sri Lanka. And by tomorrow it should be North Arabian Sea. Tomorrow, maybe day after. They have to do something. Why has he got 5,000 Marines there? See, America has miscalculated this whole story in the beginning. They thought कि उसको लुढ़का दो, Venezuela model, you kill that chap, someone will be taken over and all that. That's gone. That whole story is over. But today, Strait of Hormuz cannot remain in the hands of Iran. Which country will agree to it? Will you agree to it? That means everything you do with Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudis, everyone, Iraq or Syria for that matter, everyone, that means you have to take permission of Iran. Will anyone agree to it? So there are issues in this. At this point of time, I think that position has to be settled. How that will be settled is to be seen. How that has to be settled, we will see. And then, of course, the fact is, what about Iran itself? What's Iran's capability today? What can it do further? How will America handle Iran from here on? The military part will continue. What is the political reach out? Is there any political outreach? Is there any political solution? Unless that political solution comes in the horizon, we really don't know where this war is going. And the political solution from Iran won't come because there's no one to speak to. Pezeshkian, what General Dushyant said is absolutely right. If he comes, it's the best bet. But will he be allowed to come? We don't know what's the composition of the IRGC and all. All the known guys are knocked off. Any guy who comes up and says, I'm the next big guy, he's being knocked off. Mustafa, we don't know whether he's living or not. So, to that extent, is Israel and USA shooting themselves in the foot? They could have at least left a king up and taken everyone around. That's not happened. Right? Will UK pressurize Mustafa for all the property he's bought in UK and London, in fact? There's a documentary, not a documentary, there's a proper news report on this. So there are a lot of issues. I think this whole story, maybe not even this week, maybe by next week, we'll get to know as to how it is panning out. Because so far, there is no talk of any political settlement. The IRGC spokesman, say 1 hour back also, he said, I will do this, I will do that, I will go and ride the moon. Well, he's on a tiger of his own. And the military briefing from the central command is also very clear. They are riding their tiger. Where will these tigers meet? We don't know. One is playing a political game, one is playing a military game. So I think we have time in this whole story. But I do agree when you look at it forward, how things will pan off. Before the end of the month, I don't see this big. At least before the end of the month, I don't see this, finishing. I think by the end of the month, we'll get the contours of what is likely to be ahead. And then we have to start playing our cards. Until then, we continue with what we are doing. Back to you, Shreyarji.
Thank you so much, sir. And from my side, I would...
Can't hear you.
Oh,
we can hear. We can hear.
No, I think it's okay, sir.
I can't hear.
Okay.
Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get out and...
Yes. So from my side, I have a request for President Donald Trump. While you are sending marine troops to the Gulf, you also send Senator Lindsey Graham. Ask him to lose a little bit of weight, suit up, and go there. You are the guy who has been mongering for war. I would love for him to lead from the front, because you're going to have a lot of body bag coming into South Carolina, which is where most of the military activity is, which is where he is from, senator from South Carolina. You have to see how it feels. It's easy to sit in air-conditioned offices in in Washington D.C. and say that we must go attack them, we must go and take this, and so on and so forth. So this is the guy who is allegedly coaching Israel how to demand from United States so that United States can't refuse. Lindsey Graham is, one of the biggest warmongers, according to me. Anyway, let's get back to Hormuz Strait. Back to General Dushyant, Hormuz Strait, there are three islands,
Yes.
main islands, that have to be, controlled by the United States before they can really start controlling this. Plus, I would like your comments on the board of Hormuz that Trump is trying to put together. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, first of all, I think those islands are very critical if they really have to control the Hormuz. You're absolutely right. And maybe the marine force which he's trying to send there, probably he has that in mind to use to control them. But my only, I would say, appreciation is that if they put the boots on ground, initially they will get the success as they got in Afghanistan. There would be a general retreat. They will get control of it, but they cannot eliminate the people of Iran from there, and there will be everyday chaos in that particular place. So, therefore, I don't think they'll be achieving much by controlling the islands, except for the fact that they will have physical presence, and there would be a contested movement through the Hormuz. It will not be a uncut contested movement. Yeah, the ships will still go through. The whole idea is the insurance part. Can the US ensure insurance of the tankers which will go through the Strait of Hormuz? I don't think it can happen unless there is a political agreement out here in the Strait of Hormuz to allow ships to go through it unfettered as it has happened in the past. As far as the board is concerned, I don't see any people volunteering. Yeah, there are some reports of under the under the curtain, some people joining and supporting US, but most of the European countries have, as of now, declined from joining it. In fact, what this particular war has done, it has scuttled the Board of Peace initiative of US. In fact, that is the biggest, I would say, detriment to the whole thing. This is his whole idea of steering all these boards, etc., with him being the leader. I think it's not being taken well by the global community. I don't see any major success as far as these two issues are concerned. Yeah, Marines are a better fighters, but can they sustain a guerrilla or tactics kind of a warfare? I have my doubts. The Iranians will give them a tough fight. Yeah. Uh, General Rajiv had some points on it.
So you're muted, sir. You
General
mute.
Rajiv. Yeah.
Yeah.
General
So
Rajiv. Yeah.
let's put certain facts on the table. He's moved one Marine Expeditionary Unit. One Marine Expeditionary Unit is built around one Marine Battalion. A Marine Battalion has only 3 fighting companies. And you're looking at 3 big islands. Let's not go too far ahead of what is achievable by 3 companies. Yes, he'll have a squadron of tanks, he'll have his air defense, he'll have his artillery, he'll have his engineers, he'll have his signals. But the fighting element exactly is 3 companies. Are we looking at Kesham Island with 1450, close to 1500 square kilometers of area? 3 companies can secure. You look at Hormuz and that island below, I think Larkar. You look at the size. Can 3 companies hold it? Can they even? I think what he is not telling is he already had about more marine battalions available to him. These might be essentially going to secure the beachhead and then put somebody else, because these 3 companies can give you basically a small beachhead. They can't give you anything much. My understanding is will come into that northern portion of Oman, which is north of Fujairah, and
Muzandam
around to
Peninsula.
secure that pipeline.
Yes. And
that pipeline doesn't have any AD. So when you are in the north, There is a big airfield also available. There's a place from Kashma, something like that with K. It has a big airfield also. So the air arm, this north portion, these might
Yeah.
to hold this north portion and then look at those three islands. And for the Kesham Island, which is massive, you require a whole lot of boots. Are you looking at going there? Apart from these three islands, who secures this flank, the coastal flank? If you look eastwards, there is a huge coastal flank of Iran. So the boots, correct. So the boots required is enormous. One MEU can do nothing except give you a beachhead.
Yeah, in fact, the DNI statement yesterday very clearly stated that they require 200,000 troops,
Yes.
a likely casualty of 15,000
Will be quite
able-bodied
high. And
soldiers. I
the
think
total strength of the Marines is 1,69,000. He has
That's right.
not moved his infantry as yet.
and they are all distributed in various theaters. They are
Various
not
places.
all.
Yes.
They are not all.
Not
in-
all together. Total he
not-
would have had in this area, because earlier they had said 4,500 and now 2,500, means about 3 marine expeditionary units are available to him, which
So
has its air support and everything.
even their estimates talk of a big number. So I don't
Yes.
think it will be. I think a selective outlet security is what they will be
The
looking.
other issue about the Straits of Hormuz, yes, it is 33 miles wide, but the actual area from where the VLCCs can come is a very narrow 3-mile width, and the northern portion of it comes in the territorial waters of Iran. Now, how do you manage? You see, that is the problem in Straits of Hormuz. It is not the 33. The smaller vessels can go from anywhere. The moment you get a VLCC to come through, it has a channel of about 5 miles, 5 kilometers width. And the northern portion of that, thanks to these islands, comes within the territorial waters of Iran. The northern portion of this channel. So that is the critical. That is where the problem comes as far as the Straits of Hormuz is concerned. How will you secure it is a major issue. Are we looking at certain pipelines coming in towards Dukum and further south, increasing the pipeline? All that will go into near to medium term. Building pipelines takes time. So that is the criticality, because MEU and all sounds nice, but MEUs, to my understanding, in all their battles are used to secure a beachhead where the rest of the forces build up. Who are these forces who are going to build up? That movement has not taken place as yet. So if you have 4,500, 2,000, about 3 to 4 MEUs, 3 to 4 places, the bridgeheads have been made. Now who goes in? Bridgehead they'll secure because of the phenomenal air power and everything that they have. How do you sustain them logistically, and who builds up on those bridgeheads to secure those islands and the flanks? That is $1 billion.
So the boots on ground is a big problem.
Big problem.
That is what is holding US back from any kind of an offensive. And Trump,
can I have that? Can I have that
Yeah.
slide? I want to
Yeah,
explain.
we're bringing it back, sir. We're bringing it back, and we
Can I
are
have that
showing you
slide?
Dukum.
Yeah.
Dukum, which
That
is
map.
in the main.
Yeah,
main
not this. Get that
yeah.
thing.
That north
Get
one.
to the
Straits of
north,
Hormuz.
Hormuz. Get to the north of. Get to the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah. So he just have to zoom out. Just 1 second, sir.
Yeah, get to the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. See, okay, this. Yeah. This is fine. See, the point is this. What General Narayanan said is very important. Quesham Island is about 100 kilometers east-west. It's not a small island. But, right? But there, it is not the only island in Hormuz. There's this island called Abu Musa here, and there's one island called Siri out here, and then one, I think, Lakad or Lakada or what.
Lakad or something. And the
Okay,
Hormuz.
And Hormuz is here. There are but 5 islands. The way I look at it is slightly different. Look at it, I might be foolish, but look at it. Taking these islands is within the capability of the MEU. Right? sequentially one way or the other. It's only a bloody island. How many people will be there on it? It's not. These islands are not very great. They can plaster it and
I
just
was
walk into it.
basically looking at those main three. Not smaller ones is not an issue at all.
Yeah, no. The moment the smaller ones are taken, just pan this out a bit, please. Then you'll understand what I'm trying to get at. Just pan it out. Yeah, no. Don't keep that map there. Don't be in a hurry to take the map out. Yeah. Yes, zoom in a bit, a little. Okay, anyway, fine. You see the approaches here, if you see this here, it is 60 kilometers. And you hold these, and this is in somewhere in between 30 kilometers either side. So the complete approach into the strait of the mouth of this Gulf of Hormuz is okay if you hold these islands and these islands. And the moment you hold these islands, then you can start engaging Quisham. You have a modicum of cover. You can do patrolling. You can do many things. You can do with where you can start suppressing the Quisham. And you can do make him move, convoy the whole thing at night and move them and with suppressive fire. And that's where this USS Tripoli comes in place because they got Ospreys which can give close support. Now you see one of the things which Iran doesn't have is air defense. Right, they're completely susceptible to air defense. Right, air. And one of the things which Tripoli has is Ospreys. Ospreys can do real close support. Okay, aircraft. So I think if there is a chance, that's it. Otherwise, what you said, the first option is this, that Musandam Peninsula, which is Omani territory, they can go and sit there and keep engaging. But even from here to engage here is 30 kilometers. How do you keep engaging face to face or 30
No, sir.
kilometers away
I'm saying
over the horizon?
this is the first phase. Occupy
Yeah,
this,
first
and
phase.
then this becomes your base from where you can launch whatever you
That
have
I
to.
agree. You have to.
You
The
need to have a leg on ground.
minimum USA has to do to open the Gulf of Hormuz or the Strait of Hormuz is to get hold of these islands.
You are
And
saying
then
this
like
Chota
what?
Island.
Chota
I would,
Islands. Because once you
I would,
get the Chota Islands, see, from those Chota Islands, you can't be moved. Iran doesn't have the capability to remove you from there. That's very clear, right? And once you have that, then you make a screen and you can put small craft and all and keep engaging Quisham and others can go through. It's a whole thing. It's like masking. You mask Quisham and go through. You see, the fundamentals of mobile warfare are equally applicable in the sea,
Naval
right?
warfare. The whole problem is they're not putting any ships inside, no, sir.
Okay. No,
That
let's
is the
see.
whole issue.
Now we'll
and
see how
How
it
do
is.
you, without
Look.
getting your
Now,
I
now
would
the
also
next thing is to get people in here. You need to clear this coast. How do you suppress this coast is the $1 million question.
that is
Actually,
the
this is
whole,
the first start. $1 million question. They have to
which
solve
is
it.
where I felt that if he takes over this northern flank of Oman
No,
and
that he
has
will
it
take. He will.
secure
This
it,
he will go
then
and sit.
both sides he will be able to suppress.
Yeah. On
From
that.
there you can suppress all
Yeah.
flanks.
This is fundamental. For this, he doesn't need Marines. He needs normal people who are available to him
Normal
there.
है नहीं ना
And
सर, वो लाया नहीं है ना सर.
no, he's got, I'm sure, to put together a battalion out here or two he'll be able to do
Sir,
in
he
this
has
Musandam Peninsula.
4,500 Marines which are there on the carrier battle group, and he has moved USS Tripoli, which is his main amphibious force.
no,
Which
but
is
we
a
have,
marine expedition unit.
Rajiv,
but
rather than us doing the numbers, let's see what he has to do and leave the numbers to him. Okay.
yeah,
If
and also,
what you what
yeah,
let me finish. Okay. What he has to do to open the Gulf of Hormuz, he has to occupy this peninsula, which he will. That's unopposed. It's his home territory. It's home ground.
That he has to.
Home ground. Yeah, he has to and he will. And he'll use any kind of troops here. It's not necessary you need Marines to hold this place. Right? With elements of Marines, and you start engaging these chaps and then get hold of these islands. If you get hold of these islands and you're sitting here in strength with fire and you start masking this fellow off, then you have a hope. Otherwise, forget it. All this is not going to take time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. It's going to take another 15-20 days for this to, I will say next week somewhere they can start this if they do. And then we'll see where it goes. Now, the point which you said is, okay, I do masking, I do everything. What about insurance? What about costs of shipping through? All this comes into play. So it's not going to be easy. It will be complicated. So that is why, which I said earlier, where is that political outreach to Iran as to how to handle it? Because today, if you accept Iran controlling this, Iran owns that strait. Is it acceptable internationally to all of us? I don't think it's acceptable. I mean, that's my proposition. I don't think any country will accept. I don't think any of these Gulf countries will accept that Iran will control the Strait of Hormuz and start collecting taxes like a toll bridge. Okay? So if that doesn't happen, we are in for the long haul. Then you're looking, okay, now people, let me give you another scenario because everything is scenario based. Everyone says, okay, USA doesn't have the capability to sustain this operation. Ammunition nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. I have a different view. And I'll give you this different view in a different manner so that people understand. Yeah, he stopped using tomahawks. He stopped using tomahawks. When he ran short of it, he stopped using. He stopped using all modern ammunition. Okay? He's got control of the sky. He's free on the sky. What can he do then? He can use all this old ammunition, which is lying dumped. Ask any army. Any army has got so much old ammunition, we don't know what to do with it. You burn ammunition off every year. So this man will burn his 1950 ka ammunition today. It doesn't matter what goes and hits the Iranian, whether it's new ammunition, precision ammunition or not. And he's got those JADAMs and all that, which are pretty cheap. Huh? You just have to put a slap on a INS kit on a dumb bomb. That becomes smart. It's smart enough for the Iranians today. See, so let's not think that USA can't last this whole story. What he needs fuel to run. Okay, one odd aircraft will fly and have an accident and die and all that. He is prepared to accept. He's got no choice but to accept the loss. So if he goes
Sir,
back
when
from
you
here,
look at what people were telling on the net of the tanker, even if it is 5, if you look at KC-135, his total inventory was 470. You add the Boeing, it is well over 600. Out of that 600, if 5 have gone down, does it make a difference to him?
No, even that 5 have not gone down. Yeah, the Trump has said they have not gone down. I've got only one repeat, all of this. Right?
One which has got destroyed. When I say gone down means they got damaged on the ground.
Damaged and all. Yeah, that's gone. That one which went down.
That has gone down, but he has, if you take his total inventory, it is more than 600.
See, to think that American inventory is weak and they don't have ammunition and all, it is good for professors to write and, critics to talk of. Let's talk practically. We know what's happening. They would be having all those ammunition with not at certified ammunition. Oh, ठीक है, Iranian के ऊपर डाल दो उसको क्या लेना देना. So this America can sustain this war. With I have no doubt about it. And right. And he has to, and his targets are focused. He is now opening up the Strait of Hormuz brutally. He'll hammer that hell out of these defenses. After that, what happens? There will be still that odd thing. For that, at that point, he will go in for the land thing option. He'll not do it ahead of time. And once he sits in that Musandam Peninsula, he'll get observation on that Quishim. Bhaiya, गुड ओल्ड ओपी अफसर आके वहां जाके बैठेगा और शूट लेगा बस मेरे जैसे ना वो ठोकेगा उधर फिर देन व्हाट हैपेंस आई मीन देयर इज अ मिलिट्री सॉल्यूशन फॉर हॉर्मुज दिस इज माय व्यू वेल वेदर अमेरिका थिंक्स इट दैट वे और नॉट लेट्स सी बैक टू यू सर
General Rajiv, one second, General Dushyant.
Dushyant had a point when we were discussing, sir.
Okay, General Dushyant, over to you, sir. Then you're muted. You're muted. You're muted, sir. You're muted.
Yeah. While militarily, all of you are correct. We are also correct. But you must also understand the intention or the capability of the US forces to actually go on ground and do these operations. I have seen the US Army personally upfront, interacted with them. They are highly critical of the US Army's capability to do ground operations. That is why they rely more and more on the Marines and the Special Forces. Now, Marines and the Special Forces are not enough in this particular region to do what people are suggesting. They will have to use the army for that, and for that, I don't think the US is ready as of now, given the fact that the way the statements are coming out from their government sources
Yeah,
itself. So,
maybe.
so, so that is the big question mark on the plan which we are suggesting. Yes, militarily possible, but will they be able to physically implement it with boots on ground is the question which we need to answer.
Thank you so much, sir. General Rajiv.
You're muted.
Like, I'm
No,
hearing it.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you're hearing him?
I'm hearing.
There's some problem.
yeah.
Okay,
Loud
I'll
and
come
clear.
back. I'll come back. Sorry, please carry on.
Yeah.
Over to you, sir. Yeah.
You were mentioning.
So you were trying to come in when General Shankar was saying one question, sir. I'd like to put the map back up. And please point us where the current canal that ends at Al Fujairah on the other side. Where does it begin? If you can just point it out, so we can have a idea that this is the
I
other
don't know
operable.
exactly where it is. It comes to the port of Dibba.
Okay.
This is Dibba. So that is in Fujairah.
Okay. So that's right.
The Dibba port is in Fujairah.
Got
Fujairah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, this. So it comes here.
Okay.
So you are in the Gulf of Oman.
Okay.
So you are able to come out. See, this is not an. See, if you look at these, now the 4 islands, Faror, Sitri, Abu Musa, Greater Tumb. Now your actual lane which is there, the shipping lanes, that comes under Iranian territorial waters. That is the whole problem which I was telling. Because of these islands, you get your territorial waters of 11 to 12 nautical miles. And similarly, when you are crossing on the other side, you find that because of those islands and this your coastline, the upper portion of this, the upper shipping line is coming into the Iranian territorial waters, not EEZ. That is the main problem in this area, and that is why Gen Shankar was saying about these 4 smaller islands, Faror, Siri, Abu Musa, and Greater Tumb, to be occupied. But to occupy these islands, you, like I said, one military expedition unit is built around one marine unit with its air wing, its anti-tank, its tanks, its artillery, its AD, its engineers, its signals. So it comes to about, it's like a battle group. The physical element of fighting is 3 companies and 1 squadron of tanks. So you might expend it on one island itself and then go to the next island and see. So maybe one expeditionary unit may take over Siri and Abu Musa, but main island to identify, which I identify, is Faror and Greater Tumb.
Yeah.
Because the moment you secure that, both the lanes on top and bottom get secured. These shipping lanes that they show, which is the narrow ones, this is the ones where VLCC can go. It gives you that depth for the VLCCs to travel. Chota ships can go from anywhere. That is not an issue. The Chota ones who have their 50,000 and other things, which are the smaller ones, they can go anywhere. But your VLCC has to stick to these lanes. And that is where the problem comes.
Very good, sir. We have a few questions to run through. Request to all generals to keep the answer to 30 seconds or less. I'd like to answer as many questions as possible. Let's go to the questions now, please. First question. Thank you, Bhaskar Bandit. We hope this does not happen, but if Iran uses a dirty bomb, what kind of retaliation we can expect from world power? General Dushyant. You're muted, sir.
Iran will be obliterated. Thank you.
Next question, please. Again, Bhaskar Bandit, thank you so much. This is for General Rajiv. Charan Sparsh to all dear generals and Hindu Naye Saal ka sabko shubhkamnaएं. Will China be able to find replacement for the 12 to 15% oil need lost with Iran? If yes, who are possible contenders? General Rajiv.
Very difficult. So that is why they, a lot of these shadow fleet oils that they were getting from Iran and from Venezuela, they kept it in floating storage in the South China Sea. They have about 39 million barrel tons, 39 tons which will last them about 10-12 days. So those reserves they have started now releasing. They are in talks with Russia. They are hoping that they can get the Canadian oil, but they've not been able to find an alternative as yet. Nobody is giving them. Russia is like I said, Russia is giving you everything. Russia has told China that you have the pipeline available. Whatever I can send in the pipeline is what you will get. So that is not adequate. I mentioned also, you see, the daily passage of oil from the Persian Gulf, let's put it in figures, 40 million barrels per day, irreplaceable, to put it bluntly. For
Yeah,
the
yeah.
global, I can replace it because I was taking only about 2.5 million barrels per day from them. I can have alternate resources. Globally, for it to be resources, not possible. So maybe you might find countries now giving a lot of concession for EV vehicles.
Next question to General Shankar. Thank you, Dinesh Kumar. And next, one more acknowledgement. Thank you, Ramesh. Is the US deep state and UK deep state acting from both sides and destructing the oil resources in Middle East so that US can get monopoly over oil or revive the petrodollar? We answered this in the morning. Over to you, General Shankar.
Look, they don't want to destroy the oil resources. They just want to control the oil resources. That's when the petrodollar is stable, and that is the
Yeah.
start point of this whole story. Even now, Trump's aim is to get hold of Iranian oil. Let's be very clear. He's already spoken about it. Today afternoon, in some statement, I saw that he said, "I'll give Iranian oil to those people," and he's already talking. So let's be very clear about it.
I
Yeah,
will just add one more thing here, sir. It's not oil, yes, also control of various choke points.
choke
Either
points.
he directly or through his allies needs to control those choke points. And
That's
that
why
is
it's
where
Strait of
after this,
Hormuz.
Greenland is the only one left, which is for the northern maritime route. It has to pass through the Greenland, Iceland, UK corridor. UK is on one flank, Greenland he wants. It is essentially for that to control that choke point, which is emerging. It has not come as yet, it is emerging.
Next one, please. ASA, thank you so much. Suits, subpowers, foment conflict, religion, sect. Whenever conflict away from home, country X has benefited. Israel being where it is, it's perfect. Keep stirring, reap benefits, play terror victim card. Thoughts. This is General Dushyant.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with this thing. Whether it is America, Russia was also indulging once upon a time. Now the Russians are facing the music themselves, and so is Israel. It's keeping the war away from its own front. But Israel cannot help it. It has Hezbollah next to it. It has Hamas next to it. So till the time they actually are there with them, they're sharing borders with them. I think there'll be a problem. But also, let me say, China has now entered into the fray with Xi Jinping making a statement just today saying that the Gulf countries must uh, insist on US to leave the Middle East, otherwise, and because Iran is fighting a just war of survival. So I think slowly the superpowers are getting into a little bit of a, at least verbal, if I'm not saying physical support to Iran. So there is going to be more games which will come in the future as far as this region is concerned.
Thank you, Tibet Monk. Next question. This is for General Rajiv. Thank you, Jignesh Shukla. Lindsay also loves to comment on Kashmir.
Let him
This
send
is
him to
what I
Pakistan.
said.
Send
Sure.
him to Pakistan.
Welcome to do so. Welcome.
He is a captain of the neocons in the Republican Party. And anyway, next question, please. This is for General Shankar. Akash Tadani wants to know, apparently the US-Israel combined lack congruence in their operational planning, execution and endgame, quite like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is up to. Your thoughts?
No, I think they know very well what they're up to. Let's not have any doubts about it. The right hand is allowing the left hand to do what it wants to do at some point of time. So I think it's going on. They are absolutely in sync with each other.
May I
One
add a point
minor,
here?
yeah.
Yes.
One point. Long ago, 2018, biannually, there used to be a conference on Middle East and general all over, supported by State Department, now called the Department of War and EU. It used to be held in Prague. For some reason, I was the only Indian to be called. 2018 February is when I had mentioned that what the Americans are doing is trying to have a Sunni crescent to the south of the Gulf, which will be with the Israelis, and you will have a Shia arc to the north. Now, with this war that is embedded now in stone, so to say that US and Israel didn't know what they're doing, this has created the complete Sunni belt to the south to be with the US and Israel. Even if they were slowly deviating away from that, all done and dusted.
Next
Yeah,
question.
but just I want to add here one thing.
Please, please, go ahead.
Iraq is not primarily a Sunni country.
No, it's
Iraq
an
has Iraq has
Shia.
a majority Shia.
Yeah.
So it's in fact Sadat was Sunni.
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein was Sunni, but otherwise the country itself is a majority Shia. So there are some kind of differences there in the South Crescent also.
Bahrain too, same thing. Shia majority, but a Sunni
No,
Sultanate.
Iraq doesn't come into the South Crescent. South
It's in the
Crescent
It's
north.
on the top,
Arab,
right? Yeah.
is the
Yeah,
Arabs.
basically
And
West
the
Asia.
north is your Iran, Iraq, and Syria.
Next one, please. This is for General Dushyant. Trump wants the world to intervene after he undermined the UN. India is financing security that other countries benefit from, EU included. First COVID, now more Indian altruism. Narrative? Is it for narrative building? General Dushyant.
Yeah, India is always. I should say India has adopted a position of moral high ground. So no harm in doing so. It is one particular position which has helped us out in various crises, and I think we should give it to the Indian government, whether it is this government or a government in the past also has been able to see us through crisis, whether it is COVID or whether it is the current conflict which we are seeing, or whether it was the conflict during the Russia-Ukraine war. Everywhere, we have been able to extricate our people. We have been able to get our way through and sustain a growth of 7 to 8%. I think there's no harm in doing this kind of a strategy till the time. Must remember, Chanakya has said that till the time you have enough strength and till the time you have enough lathi, which is enough strong lathi, which can make other people listen to you, bide your time. And he also said it, and Chanakya has also said it.
General Rajiv, this is for you, sir. To what extent is it feasible for India to assume the role of a primary net security provider in the Persian Gulf?
Why do you want to do a net security provision today? What everybody is looking at, others which is building up, the voices are building up for India to, like what had happened in the Raisina dialogue, to provide a table for these people to come and
To
talk.
talk.
They come and talk to each other, and like what was being done by Oman and Muscat, to get both sides and to
Absolutely.
make them have a dialogue and arrive at some solution to this. More and more countries are looking towards India to do that, not being a net security provider, but being that one country whom both sides will listen to, since you are not one of the antagonists or the protagonist in this problem.
I would like to add here something. If the Americans can't be the net security provider, how do you expect the Indians to be the net security provider in that region? I think Indian Ocean is a good area where we can be and we should be there, and that should be the place where we should strengthen our strength.
General Shankar, this is for you. In spite of being hit several times, I'm not in a position to understand why other oil countries are not retaliating at Iran. Any comment?
Yeah, before this business of net security provider, I think it's more important to be a net security enabler here. And that's what India is now achieving. We'll provide security when it comes. If you can enable security without getting into fighting with each other, I think India is doing a very good job. I said this in my comments also. India is the only country which in Raisina Dialogues and India Today conclave gave that thing for all three parties, Israel, Israel, Iran, and USA to come and talk. They spoke at different times. Okay. But they spoke. Where do you see Iranian Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister going and talking? It's only on TV. The only place they have come to is India. So you already have a place. You have already a role there, and that role has to be expanded. Now here, the other oil countries can't respond because they're weak. Their military is for regime survival more than anything else. Okay, against coups, shoes, and all, they need that. And many of these toys which they have got from USA, like a lot of F-16s and fancy equipment Saudi Arabia has got, is for show. They can't use it. That is why he wants Pakistan to come. Right? And that is why so far they have not retaliated. See, whether you like it or not, in all these Muslim countries, Iran still is the preeminent military power.
Absolutely.
Independent. Not even Pakistan. Pakistan has kept fighting capability, but it is not independent. It is not autonomous. And Pakistan doesn't have that, what shall I say, capability to project itself in its own way. It doesn't. No one listens to it. Everyone knows like Bikari hai ye. But not Iran. Iran has the financial capability. It has the civilizational backing and thinking and structure. Okay, to project itself, and that is why all these chaps are worried, and that is why all these Sunni chaps are running to USA and Israel also. कि भाई ये खा जाएगा हमें कल के दिन. A weak Iran, even if a weak Iran, survives this whole story, he'll eat up the rest. A weak Iran can't control Hormuz. That's the problem. So let's see how it unfolds. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much. General Dushyant, this is for you. Jeet wants to know, are there any fiber optic cables to target in the region? Wouldn't that cause civilians to panic if caught by surprise?
But how do you target these fiber optic cable? They are very, very, very difficult targets to actually interdict. It has to be more physical in nature than through any other means. So I don't think this is really worth trying the effort. Also, they can stop communication through other means. The internet, in fact, is controlled by the US. Why do they need to do this kind of an activity?
Next one, please. This is for General Rajiv. Is it possible that USA is going to deploy artillery and AD on these islands?
Reach. You need long range vectors. Even in this island, he puts it. How does he reach the mainland? So you need long range vectors actually to be able to. AD, yes, to counter his rockets and missiles which comes, but artillery, it's a long range thing. So long range vectors in place.
Most of these islands have a runway. If they have a runway, they have capability to, you can take some high march and put it. But how do you cover it?
Not exactly. I was just clarifying on artillery also. Artillery, it is those long range ones only that he is going to utilize out there to get a reach on the mainland of Iran. AD, yes, he will require his AD because some drone or some missile can get fired by the Iranians there. So you need your AD.
This is for General Shankar. Can US be trusted for negotiations as it bombed Iran during their negotiations?
No, you can't. How can anyone trust USA at this point? No one will trust USA. Yeah, I don't think USA trusts itself. If leave others at all. That's the problem. Yeah.
Creative Master, thank you so much. Make video on crude price in US versus Asia. Yes, we will do that.
Tomorrow morning we'll show them.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yes. Thank you once again. Thank you, generals. This was a wonderful session. We had very good traction, and viewers, keep the comments coming, and we are coming. General Shankar and I are doing Good Morning India every day as much as possible at 9 a.m. So do join us for that. And thanks once again, General Rajiv, General Dushyant. Hope to see you all very soon. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.